And we are live. What's good, church? Man, Bill Saint. Welcome. The Really Wanna Know podcast. It's summertime, guys. My little one is out for the summer, which means y'all gonna see me a lot. Y'all gonna see me a whole lot. So we're not just doing our 6 o'clock normal slot time, Monday through Thursday. Nah, man, I'm gonna be going on all the time at random times, talking about everything we can think about to talk about. You're gonna see me on different panels. Um, yeah, just be ready for that. Just be ready. So I hope you guys are good. I hope you're having a good Saturday. I'm just relaxing. I don't have my daughter. So on the one hand, I'm free to start doing things. I got things lined up. I'm gonna be networking and doing what I do. But on the other hand, I already miss my little one. I already miss her. She's gone. It's like she ain't even been gone a full day yet. And I miss her. When she got out the car last night, gave her a kiss on her forehead like I always do. And I look at her like, I miss you already. And she just starts smiling. And she went to her mom. Went to her mom's place. It is what it is. So we are going to talk about Antonio Brown, former NFL wide receiver, probably one of the greatest to ever do it. And yeah, man, he's gone bankrupt, bro. He's gone bankrupt. Well, he's filed for bankruptcy protection. I forget which one it is, but we're going to get into it, man. Let's get into it right now. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Get some indeed, man. Get some indeed. So, if you guys come in, please don't forget to hit that like button on the way in, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Let your friends know. Thank you for all of the new subscribers we've gotten over the past month or so. You guys know YouTube came after me. I lost 150 subscribers like that, just like one day they were gone. But because of all the hard work we've been doing and everyone helping a brother out, we got that back and then some. So we're coming up on 2,000 subscribers. We're getting close. We're almost at 1,900 subscribers. I think we're just a couple subscribers away from 1,900. We're going to hit 2,000 pretty quick. Thank y'all so much. I really appreciate it. And we're meeting new people all the time. Shout out to Base Oracle. Shout out to Brother Leroy. Shout out to Flow State. Cool, Joe Cool. Shout out to Brother Glenn, Glenn Lawrence out there. Raging Tomato. Sister Ashley. We've made a whole bunch of new YouTube associates and had some great conversations, guys. I ain't gonna lie. Great conversations on their platforms. I'm gonna start, inviting folks over. A lot of times they jump in. We might even see some of the people I just named jump in the chat today and jump in, and we have these amazing conversations. But I definitely wanted to talk about this Antonio Brown thing. I guess as Americans, we're used to watching, athletes and celebrities, A-list celebrities, be it comedians or actors, musicians, rappers, and basketball players, baseball players, football players, and all that. We're used to watching some of them, burn bright and then burn out and lose their money. Everyone's familiar with the MC Hammer story. Everyone's familiar with all these NBA guys, and NFL guys, and Major League Baseball guys who just like burn through hundreds, tens of millions of dollars. And looks like that's what's going on right now in Antonio Brown. He was last playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, started his career, I believe, in Pittsburgh. And we're going to talk about what's going on with him. I found this video we're going to react to. I thought it was a pretty good video. And there's a lot of questions being asked. But, football is a very violent sport. Very, very violent, very painful sport. It's hard on your body, especially your head. Take a lot of blows to the head. It might not be just blows from defenders or from other people, other football players. But a lot of times you get tackled and you just hit your head hard on the turf, on the ground, depending on what field you're playing on. And as a former paratrooper, I can tell you, when you hit your head, I don't care what kind of helmet you're wearing, when you hit your head on the hard surface, bro, yeah, you do see stars. You are out of it. Like it might take you a couple days or a week or so just to recover. You know, there are guys I've served with in the military were going an entire mission and not remember nothing because on the jump they landed on a flat landing surface, the FLS, which is on some drop zones, a portion of the drop zone is basically a runway for the C-130s and well C-17s now to land because they have to practice landing and throwing stuff out the back of the airplane and taking off. So it's basically a runway. If you hit that, man, it hurts. Man, it hurts a lot. It's just landing on concrete. That's what it's like. You're just landing on a runway. And although we have this thing called parachute landing fall, right? And you got the 5 points of contact. This is how they train us. And it's like, what are the 5 points of contact? Can I still remember? It's been forever. The balls of the feet, your calf, your thighs, your buttocks, and the push-up muscles, right? The push-up muscles, right? That's how you're supposed to land. It's kind of like you want to land sort of like the rocking chair, the bottom of the rocking chair. That's how they kind of want you to land. But in actuality, how do you normally land? You hit your first point of contact, which is the balls of the feet. Then you hit the fourth point of contact was the butt, and then you bounce your head off the ground. That's normally how it happens, especially when you're jumping in high winds and stuff like that. And even when you're new and you're a rookie, you're not quite sure of what's going on. That's how you normally land, right? You ask anybody who jumps. You ask any paratrooper, any Green Beret, any Ranger. Hell, you can ask some of these SEALs, some of these recon Marines. MARSOC guys. They all have to go through basic airborne school, so they all have to start there before they get into the helo stuff. So it hurts, y'all. And even the Army issues you this extra little foam cushion that you put in the back of your Kevlar, right? And it's like, oh, this is going to help protect your head when you smack it up against the ground. It's like, okay, thank you. They put that little extra cushion in there, and it's like, nah, it doesn't help at all, bro. Doesn't help at all. It's like taking a pillow and then run as fast as you can into the wall, right? Brick wall. Is that pillow really gonna help lessen the blow? It's like, come on. So CTE is a real thing in the NFL, bro. And Antonio Brown took one of the most vicious hits I've ever seen watching American football. I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan. He was playing for the Steelers at the time, and Burfict, one of our linebackers, hit him so hard, and it was just such a cheap shot. It was such a nasty cheap shot. Put him out. Like it just put him out. And that hit I just can't imagine that hit not being like taking, like being a part of this thing that he's going through, right? So I'm just gonna throw that out there, and we'll continue with that conversation as we watch this video. And man, I tell you, yeah, there's a lot we're gonna talk about here. There's a whole lot. Feel free to jump up. Matter of fact, let me where is the invite button? I'll do this now before we even get started. You guys know I normally don't do this, but I will even start the show by bam, right there. I'm just gonna put the link in there. And once we get some more chats or whatever and that moves up, I'll be able to pin it to the top. YouTube, is it YouTube? Yeah, YouTube puts that emoji shit here, which I hate. And it makes that, you see that it floats up that 100 or whatever. But that makes it hard for me to reach. I'm trying to reach the little three dots so I can pin that message. So I'm going to need, when people start checking in and it goes up, I'll be able to pin it to the top. But yeah, man, technology there is what it is. So we're going to watch this video from the Dan LeBattert show. I've seen this guy on ESPN, I want to say years and years ago. And I guess he has his own show on YouTube. So they were talking about this thing. And I thought it was a pretty good conversation, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So I'm like, yep, let me use this as the centerpiece for this conversation. Brother Pablo's in the building. What's good, fam? It's like Antonio Brown was kind of with the Raiders once. They talk about that. Yeah, he was. There's another video out there. It's a guy who's really, another sports YouTube channel that talks about it. Yeah, he was with the Raiders, and the man left so much money on the table with the Raiders. Again, his behavior was so erratic. Something to do with a helmet. He didn't want to wear a helmet, and then he got to threatening like the general manager and all this kind of stuff. The dude was in for like a $50 million, I think it was a 3-year deal, something like that. Guaranteed $30 million. All he had to do was like play a few games or whatever. And he didn't even get a chance to make that money. Just kind of, the stuff that he does is just like, bro, he's not thinking right. And I'm not a huge sports guy. Like, I don't worship sports. I don't live and breathe it like a lot of these guys do. But I don't remember hearing all this craziness about Antonio Brown prior to that nasty hit he took against Cincinnati. But maybe he was already doing crazy stuff. But it seems to me that after he took the hit, that vicious hit he took to his head, that things started to go bad. I could be wrong. But let's check out this video and listen to what they have to say about this particular thing.
Stugatz, I want to ask you about a person in sports who's going to engender vision. The last few years of this person's public life have seemed to be a real disintegration. Antonio Brown went from the best reliever, the best receiver in football, to somebody who took in a game that years from now, when we go through science, we're going to be able to like pinpoint, oh, that's what exacerbated CTE.
Right.
His public meltdown has been something that seems like it could be tied to football fairly easily and fairly overtly, to not excuse any of what it is that he's done. But we're going to know more about it in years. And today he declared for bankruptcy, or yesterday he declared for bankruptcy. And it actually hurt me on his behalf because of what life's going to be now when you've grown used to having all of the money and power in the world. And now you enter a phase of your life where you're not going to be able to recoup that anywhere. And your reputation is in tatters and you don't seem mentally stable in any way. And I don't think there's going to be very much compassion for Antonio Brown, but having known that his story began in Miami, homeless, and this is not a place to not have a home. His journey to the top of sports was fairly amazing to watch because it didn't come through the big schools and it didn't come with a lot of support. So he got to adulthood and fame and money at a time he couldn't handle it. And I don't want to make him a victim here, because the stuff that he's done is really bad. Like, it's not just publicly embarrassing, it's stuff that has hurt people. And yet I found myself feeling bad for him when I saw the declaration of bankruptcy, because I'm like, he's not going to be able to get his finances in order the rest of his life in a way that allow him to fix the fact that all of it's been thrown away.
He made $88 million.
Yeah, I think this guy's from Miami. I think this guy is speaking from, his heart. I think he's really looking at, like, I didn't know Antonio Brown was homeless going into, I guess, college or as a kid or something like that. I didn't know that. Sitting here now, I'm like, oh, he was homeless. And then you look at, like, you look at his arc. It's like, to go from having absolutely nothing to being an $80 million man. I mean, that's the stuff of fairy tales, right? It's like, wow, that's great, man, you won. But, the bit that he was saying about how, you wasn't prepared for the money you got there, wasn't prepared for the success. I mean, honestly, man, if you come from nothing, who's prepared for, $80 million? Who's prepared for $100,000? If you came from nothing and all of a sudden, you go to college, you're 18 years old, you get into college, you're 22 years old, you come out, you're playing, you're in the NFL, and you sign a deal. So you go from I'm broke to I have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars right now, just sitting here after taxes. Okay, who's ready for that? And if you were homeless, it sounds like you don't have anybody to really talk to. Who are you gonna call and ask? Like, who do you know that you can just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, man, can you give me a number of a good accountant? Also, I'm also gonna need a lawyer." Bro, you're at a serious disadvantage. Your only hope is just trust the people around you, and now that's on you. Did you pick the correct people? Is your agent a good guy? You know, are you working with people? Is your manager a good guy, a good man, good girl? How do you, you know what I mean? Like you're going from one dimension to the next, bro, with no preparation, no course, no class. I guess maybe the NCAA gives you a couple classes or something like that. I don't know. I know that the NFL now does that when you come in as a rookie. They give you some classes and talk about finances and stuff like that. The NFL was made to look really bad, having so many NFL stars that would come out of the league and just be broke. Ickey Woods comes to mind. Ickey Woods was a fullback for the Cincinnati Bengals back in the 80s. Went to the Super Bowl. We didn't win, but you know, it came up with this thing called the Ickey Shuffle, and you know, it's like his touchdown celebration dance. And I mean, he was the man in Cincinnati. And after his NFL career was over, he's going door to door selling meat in Cincinnati. And some guy who, I guess Ickey, as the story goes, Ickey Woods goes up to his door, knocks on the door. The man recognized him right away and is like, "That's Ickey Woods." And Ickey was telling like, "Yeah, this is what I got to do. I don't have any money left, you know, just that and the third." And the guy allegedly, you know, Ickey Woods was saying, "Yeah, man, some people make me do the Ickey Shuffle just so they can buy the meat." It's like, man, I mean, I'm so humiliated right now. And this is, you know, I'm just so broken, but I got to make money. And these people came, brought Ickey to the NFL, and NFL, I think, gave him some sort of judge, maybe a job. Maybe it was the Bengals put him in the office or something like that. But after that, I think the NFL began to pay attention to these guys after they leave the league and trying to help them with that. But again, you don't know what to do with that money. That money just coming in so fast, man, in big chunks, man. I mean, y'all seen Broke, y'all seen all the shows and stuff like that on ESPN and other outlets. This stuff happens, bro. It really does. So, and Antonio Brown has reached that point. It was like, okay, you know, I got to file for bankruptcy, and now there's going to be a lot of conversation behind this. But I'm with this guy right here. Like, how much of the bankruptcy, how much of this episode has to do with that hit and possible CTE? That's just one of thousands, not millions of hits, you know, that man has taken. And maybe it's, you know, he ain't right. Maybe stuff up there ain't right. Let's continue.
In dollars during his career, and he's filing for bankruptcy. I do feel bad for Antonio Brown because it's the unknown that you feel bad about. It's what did football do to Antonio Brown? How did it impact his life, his career, all the crazy things he's done over the last few years? You do wonder, I'm not excusing it, but you're left to wonder how football impacts that.
It's a long list of things. Perhaps you could get us that list of things, because I don't want to skate past what has been some very bad behavior that's going to make most of the people listening to this, I don't think it's the minority, I think it's going to be most of them, don't care, threw it all away, moron, another guy who had all of the things I dream about having and couldn't figure out a way to handle it. I'm guessing that he engenders very little in the way of compassion.
If I had the opportunity to play in the NFL, I do this all the time. I'm guilty of it as well, but this is what fans do. And I made $88 million. I would never squander that opportunity. But you don't know, because you don't know what football does to your body and your brain.
Yeah.
You don't know what football does to your body and your brain, and you're not prepared for it. You're just not, man. You take some young person just in their young 20s, and you cut them a check for $900,000, right? Let's just say, for instance, you cut them a check for $900,000. A year goes by, right? After 12 months, how much of that money will they have left? Someone that's under 25, right? That's a good question. Right. Then it I guess the next questions or series of questions will be, well, where's that person from? Because if you take a kid from the suburbs whose mom and dad are wealthy, whose mom and dad, you know, has a stock and real estate portfolio in the millions, whose mom and dad, you know, provided a stable home and a very good education, that kid, $900,000 a year later, that kid's going to have a lot of that money still left. Maybe most of it. Why? Because he's going to go to mom and dad like, hey, they cut me a check for $900,000. This is after taxes. What should I do with this money? And then mom and dad will say, hey, you should invest it in this and that. Why don't you sit down and talk to Mr. Jim over here? Mr. Jim has been handling our portfolio longer than you've been alive. And Jim's going to say, yeah, give me $300,000 and give us, $300,000 in 5 years from now, it's going to be worth way more than that. Okay, cool. Right. All right, cool. That's 300,000. No, still got $600,000. Let me go out and buy myself a car. All right, he goes out and buys himself a real high-end Mercedes or BMW or something like that, which is something that he's familiar with. Why mom and dad got nice cars? Let me go out and get myself a nice car. Let's say he spends $100,000 on the car. Okay, fine. $500,000 left. He's living in mom and dad's house. They go on vacations. He's got his money sitting in, investments in his bank and whatnot. He can go out and party with his friends and stuff, but he's not going to blow, $100,000 in the club or nothing like that because this ain't nothing new to him. Now, same thing. You give all that money, $900,000 to a kid who was homeless, who may or may not even have his family in his life. One, if you got a parent, it's just the one, or maybe it's just grandma. What's going to happen to that money? That money is going to be gone. That money's going to be gone quick. Just trying to, let me get grandma something. Let me get my cousin something. Let me give back to the community. Let me get my homie something. Let me get this. And you look up, that 900 is gone. 6 months tops, gone, all of it. As a matter of fact, that $900,000 will become 1.6, $1.7 million because you're going to go get credit and all that, because all of the bankers and all of the people in the credit business, they're going to come to loan you money. So not only did you lose that initial 900,000, you're probably in debt another 900,000 or million plus. Now you got to have that next check. Now you got to perform, right? That's how it works. If you're trained up and you have the support system, that money will go a long way. But if you are not trained up, if you don't have a support system, that money is going to be gone in a matter of days, matter of weeks, months, gone, all of it. And then with this Antonio Brown thing and some of these other NFLers and other, athletes as well, add to the traumatic brain stuff. Like your brain, we done mix your head up, or we done bust you up so bad, you might not be thinking right. And when you look at some of the stuff that Antonio Brown has done, some of the things that he has bought, bro, he's definitely not thinking right.
I feel bad for Antonio Brown as well. But when you mentioned 88 million in career earnings, that is the reason why he'll get no sympathy from most people. I worry about his mental health. I worry about what he might be driven to do next. But I also think in this day and age that the fact that he's controversial, the fact that he's had all of these episodes, there's a lot of podcasts out there who are going to say, Antonio,
I don't think he's
you want to come on?
Greg, do you want to come on is one thing. Pay you to come on, make it profitable? No. Exploit you? Sure. He doesn't have a career in front of him. He does not have a media career being controversial. He's tried the music career. He's been on, he's done some work with It Is What It Is, right? Like that Cameron and Mace have had him on fairly regularly.
He could have had a media career. He decided not to. Probably
that day's over, though.
That day's over.
Whatever
for him,
that,
I think. Yes.
And so I ask the audience this question because there are so many people in his rearview mirror who are actual victims. So I understand why anything that sounds like we're espousing victimhood for him might land wrong, because people don't want to see the humanity in that sport when it gets damaged that way and have to reconcile with what it is that we're doing on Sundays, where Vontaze Burfict took pride in doing that.
Yeah,
that's something at the time. Vontaze Burfict.
In his defense, a lot of guys do, Dan. Like,
well, but yes,
right.
Agreed. But more than most, Burfict was saying, I hate the Steelers, and that's what I was trying to do. I was not following the rules, don't care about your safety. Vontaze Burfict has publicly said, that is something I was trying to administer. It's something I'm proud to have administered. And within the context of that environment, I ask you, what does football do to these people?
The Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers hate each other, bro. Those two franchises hate each other. There are a lot of rivals out there and whatnot, but those two teams play each other at least guaranteed twice a year, sometimes 3 times. Sometimes they got to play each other in a wild card game, like 3 times a season. And a lot of players have been hurt, seriously hurt, career ending type injuries, because those two organizations hate one another, bro. It's like another level. So, like the thing that what Burfict did to Antonio Brown was in response to something that the Steelers had did to the Bengals earlier in that game. I don't agree with what Burfict did. The Burfict is one of the dirtiest players like in the game, probably in history. He was grimy. He was grimy, but he was, man, one hell of a linebacker, but he was grimy. And Carson Palmer, one of the greatest quarterbacks Cincinnati ever had. He had a career-changing injury playing the Steelers in one of those wild card games. Got hit, messed up his knee on a beautiful play too. It was like a 60-yard strike, something like that. It was crazy, but he had to come out of the game, and Carson Palmer wasn't quite never the same after. He's still a great player. He went on and had a good career, very good career. But that, you know what I'm saying, that fight between Pittsburgh and Cincinnati on the football field, them boys get at it like that. They get at it like that, bro, every season. So, I'm not trying to make excuses or whatever, just trying to let people know that's what it is. Football is an extremely, extremely dangerous sport. It's hard on your body, but man, they get compensated. They were like, oh, well, Antonio Brown made $80 million over his career. Of that $80 million, he probably kept around $50 million. Because you got to pay stuff, his taxes, is all kind of stuff. But of that $80 million, he probably had 50, still a ton of money, $50 million over your career. Ton of money. It is. And then people are like, oh, I'll never go broke if I had that kind of money. Well, yes, you can. You can, in fact, go broke with that kind of bread. Yes, you can. Antonio Brown has this thing on his finger. It's like a finger sleeve is made of diamonds. I mean, first time I saw it, he was on the Patrick Bet-David podcast, PBD podcast, which was you want to talk about looking at a guy struggling with maybe an injury, maybe with mental health issues. You go back and watch that podcast. Antonio Brown on the PBD podcast. Man, anyway, he's sitting there fiddling with this thing on his finger. This diamond finger sleeve is on one of his fingers. You can see pictures of this online. How much did that cost? First of all, I guess it had to be a shit ton of money. And secondly, what the hell is that? Why are you walking around with that on your finger? Like, what is that? Now, here's the thing. You're worth tens of millions of dollars. You can do what you want to do. It's his money. He can do what he wants. But if you buying stuff like that, if you spending money in that way, you're not going to have that money for long. And was any of that money invested any kind of way? Pretty sure he has some properties, has some houses and stuff like that. So you're going to get some equity there. But hey, bro, did you take 10,000 and throw it at crypto? Did you have some money in Bitcoin and Ethereum, Doge, whatever? You know what I mean? Since you wasted money anyway, did you try to waste some money over there? It kind of make you some money. Do you have a nice stock portfolio? Like, what's going on? We don't know. If you just take $50 million and just trying to spend it, you can't spend it all. If you're not doing anything that's going to bring you more money, that money is going to go, bro, fast.
I think why it's hard to feel for my dog is it's because it's on top of the heinous crimes he was accused of and the child support and all the stuff that he's been locked up for, throwing rocks and all the stuff. His regular internet personality right now is still attacking everybody. So-and-so in bleep of the day. You know what I mean? It's like he's still antagonizing Tom Brady, posting pictures of Giselle. At a certain point, you wear out your welcome with us. You can do your thing, but when it comes to sympathy, I'm pretty sure ain't nobody got no sympathy for me if I do all that.
All right, well,
it's hard to have it.
Let me ask you guys this question then, just out of curiosity, since DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love brought it to everybody in They brought it to a predominantly male audience and brought a conversation that men don't talk about to a male audience. When we talk about Ray Rice or Diddy, and we say, well, what do you think domestic abuse look like? You've been reading about it for years. What do you think mental illness looks like? Like, what are the things I have to put in front of you for you to say, oh, Antonio Brown, there's a lot of stuff there. I don't want to say that everyone who is mentally ill is this kind of mentally ill, but what do I have to put in front of you for you guys? Like, I'll give you my personal example. I didn't know when I.
And he brings up a good point. I mean, at some point where, you got to look at it like, hey, man, there might be something going on here. We might have to, is it time for an intervention? Is the guy just bad with the money? Is he a bad dude? Is he, what is he? Is he eccentric? Like, what is it? At some point you got to look at him like, what are we going to do here? But people look at him and they're going about their business like, whatever, that's just him. That's just how he gets down. But it's right there. And then if you do look at it and say, hey man, is he's having some mental health struggles? If that's the case, the next question would be, well, you think it has something to do with that violent ass sport that he played for all them years? Do you think it has anything to do with this hit? You just play the hit. You can go watch some of the most vicious hits in the NFL, man. It's all over YouTube. Like, bro, he got hit a lot like that, man. Do you think that has something to do with it? Yeah, brother Pablo, those contracts. It's like, man, like, be surprised that the contracts don't, address these issues that could arise after they're finished playing. But the player or the artist or the actor or whoever, they can in fact say, hey, I'm going to set up this account or this fund where X amount of my money before I touch it goes over here. And that money is for me, my rainy day fund or something like that. So, he could do that. You know what I mean? And yeah, they make a lot of money. Dr. B in the building. What's good, fam? You know what I mean? Like, hey, do they think that he has CTE? Hey, man, I don't see how he wouldn't. Like some of the hits he took, I don't see how he wouldn't. And again, playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, like, you're in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL, right? The Pittsburgh Steelers, they got to deal with the Bengals. They got to deal with the Ravens. They got to deal with the Browns twice a season, at least twice a season, every season. You want to watch some hard-nosed, defensive, hard-hitting football, watch them teams play, especially when they play each other. And it's a war. It's crazy. So, man, I don't see how he doesn't have CTE. But if it's not CTE, it's definitely some form of mental illness, possibly. Like, just when I'm watching the guy, like, I'm no pro, but I'm listening to him, watching him like this guy right here. I mean, or like I said, maybe they just call him eccentric. Maybe that's it. But, everyone watches this sort of thing play out. Everyone's watching this man do his thing, go through the money, his run-ins with the police, his dealings with the NFL and other professional leagues. Like they mentioned, like, oh, this guy had a shot at, maybe getting a podcast going, a successful podcast. The guy can't hold conversations, man. And he just be flipping out. Again, that PBD podcast interview. Go back and watch that, guys. Go back and watch it. I watched a little bit of that. I'm like, what's wrong with this dude? But then I just went on with my life. Whatever. I won't think nothing else about it. I'm in the Tampa area. I've seen, AB out and about here in Tampa. I know what strip clubs he likes to go to. The girls tell all kind of stories about dude. It is what it is. I mean, you hear the stories. It's like, damn, for real? A lot of people around him. So that 50 million is going to a lot of people, bro. There's folks around him. I'm pretty sure if you hanging around him, you're going to get some bread. At least you were going to get some money. Now, maybe not so much. Like, I don't know. I don't know how many years he did in the league. I think you need to do 10 years in the NFL. Once you do 10 years, you get a pension. And that pension can be pretty good. Like, I want to say 6 figures at least. But you got to get the 10 years in. And most people in the NFL don't get 10 years. They don't. Especially running backs. Running backs don't get it because of the nature of their job. Most of the guys with that pension, linemen, maybe some tight ends. But like the defensive guys, the DBs, and the running backs, that's a lot of hard hitting, a lot of blows to the head. Or they get hurt. They don't normally make that 10-year cut off. Now I could be wrong. I'm not an expert or anything like that. I know some people who are in the league, and I believe they told me that the magic number was 10. I think it was like you had to do 10 seasons, and then you're eligible for the NFL pension. But I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like P. Diddy deserves to lose $1 billion. Hey, man. Yeah. Sean Combs is gonna lose every bit of that, man. He's gonna lose a ton of money, man. Sean Combs is done. I'm pretty sure we'll do another show on Sean Combs at some point, but I'm really waiting for some sort of arrest or something like that. We'll talk about that later. We've talked about that already, but yeah, Sean Combs can forget about it.
I was in it. It was 20 years ago. Ricky Williams retires. He's living in a tent in Australia. I didn't know. I didn't understand that what was happening there was, okay, that must be something happened there that I don't have knowledge and information about, even though I'm really close to it. I had it happen with my brother, Stu Gatz.
Right.
My brother.
Yeah.
Toward the end of his life, my brother, who I love and I know, we were dealing with spiraling stuff that I didn't recognize. And it's in my brother's body. And so I'm ill-equipped. I'm like, well, what is this? I love this person. I don't recognize this person. What is this? Where does the sickness start and the asshole begins? Like, because my brother had some arrogant streaks. So, and I don't recognize it. So I ask you guys innocently, don't make it Antonio Brown. Give me an example from now. I think it looks like when people are talking about the despair at the bottom of the well. Because if I had to nominate somebody from sports right now on exhibiting the behavior that seems out of control and extreme, and not just athlete stereotype immaturity or athlete stereotype recklessness, that there might be something else in play. I just ask you again and again, what do you think it looks like?
I think it looks like Antonio Brown. I don't think you go from 88 million to bankruptcy unless your life is full of terrible decision making. And I don't know whether it's CTE or not. You don't associate CTE typically with the wide receiver position, but it well could be. But some sort of a mental illness has to be involved here. It just has
Jason
to be.
Kelce says he can virtually guarantee us he has CTE. He's going into his next phase of his career saying he can virtually guarantee that he himself has CTE.
But I think the NFL, the collisions, they impact everyone differently. So you're right about Jason Kelce. He has said that. But Billy and I spend, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes every week with Mike Golick on God Bless Football. And he said that football did not impact his health, mental or physical. Yes, he has a limp. Yes, there are things, but Mike Golick looks great and feels great. And so I think everyone's kind of different in terms of how football impacts them.
I think it comes to genetics. Like last summer, we looked at a brother from the Charlotte Hornets, Kai Jones. His streak of activity seemed as though something was wrong, but then he got the proper help, and he accredits the NBA PA for giving him the help he needs. So I think when it comes to mental health, it's the genetics, and it's so many different chemicals that go to who you are and your biology that it's kind of tough to detect in some people.
I should say off the top end here, because I really don't want to turn this into Antonio Brown as victim. The domestic assault allegations and the sexual assault allegations against him are serious ones. I'm talking about now he goes bankrupt, and the life you have seen, whatever it was that was gained financially from football, the news is that has now been squandered. And I'm saying once all of that arrives, his life as he knew it is now over, and the consequences that are coming for all of those actions are about to bury him. He will never get to live the life that he used to live. That has been squandered.
Maybe not. He got a couple young guys on this platform, on this conversation right now. They're about to chime in, but maybe not. Simply because you're filing for bankruptcy or whatever doesn't mean that you're broke. Even with someone like MC Hammer, who went through hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars allegedly, and we had to file for bankruptcy and all this, and everyone like, oh, Hammer is broke. MC Hammer was still good. He was still good, especially given where he came from. So, bankruptcy is just a legal tool used by, corporations and very wealthy folks to move stuff around to change what's going on. So it doesn't necessarily mean like that's it. His life is over. However, if he doesn't change his spending habits, or if he doesn't get someone to come in and help regulate his money, i.e., buying those diamond finger sleeves, those big medallions and all that, yeah, he's gonna eventually run out of bread. Eventually. But it simply because you filed bankruptcy doesn't mean it's the end all to be all. And they're gonna mention this too. Look at someone like Donald Trump has filed bankruptcy how many times? And look at where Trump is. Trump did lose a whole bunch of money. Whole bunch of money. You know what I mean? Depending on who you ask, it's to the tune of $500 million in today's money, right? $500 million, but he got it all back. So how was he able to get it all back? Well, bankruptcy protection gives you the opportunity to give you some breathing room to figure out your next move, and then you can go do what you got to do. That's just one of those things about America that is really good.
That though, because like Mike Tyson declared bankruptcy.
That's what I'm about to say, 50
declared
Cent. That's what I'm
bankruptcy. Burt
saying.
Reynolds declared bankruptcy. Like Donald Trump declared bankruptcy. There's plenty of celebrities who have declared bankruptcy
Right.
and
just to get the
seemingly
folks off their
haven't
ass.
changed their lifestyle in any way whatsoever.
Right. It's a new season of power coming up. You would never walk up to 50 Cent right now and say you can't do what you used to do. You wouldn't call that man broke. 50 claimed bankruptcy like years and years ago. So I feel like this may be just something that is necessary for whatever financial he's trying to stay out of.
I agree that I don't think bankruptcy ends one's hope and future. And I'm sort of surprised to hear you say that in the content age that Antonio Brown cannot be redeemed.
He's
he
not
cannot be
employable.
rehabilitated.
He's not employed. The crimes are too serious. The allegations are too serious.
It seems, bro, it seems that way to I understand, but you say he tried rap. No. He didn't try rap. He started a phenomenon that went around the world. Put that on is being said by random people now. It's like it seems bleak to the I don't no disrespect to your generation, but to us, this seems regular, bro. He probably owe somebody some money. I ain't got it, I'm bankrupt, and still living the same life he been living. I don't see what you see.
You guys think he's going to be fine financially by just hiding behind
They think he is fine.
the legal veneer. You guys evidently didn't see MTV Cribs and don't know what local real estate costs are on taxes. He will not be able to keep living the same lifestyle with the bubble of protection that bankruptcy affords him.
It's not that. It's not a death sentence, which is what you're kind of making it out to be.
No, it's not a death sentence. He's not going to die.
Well, he will.
But the identity he used to have, the identity that's gone, and it's gone forever.
He killed that.
And he made a good point there. He made a good point there. I can see both sides. I think older folks like us, you see it, you see what he's doing, you see the recklessness of it all, you see the waste. It's like, man, all that money's gonna be gone. The young guys are like, man, we've seen this a million times, bro. Ain't nothing changed. Dude still got paper. He gonna be all right. That's what the young guys are saying. He gonna be all right. And the way that our society is, everyone loves to hear the turnaround. They love to see someone overcome their situation. So if Antonio Brown goes and gets some help, it's not like he has to go to rehab and nothing, right? He doesn't have any substance abuse problems to my knowledge. But if he could go and get some help on the mental side, like I'm gonna go get a Dr. Phil or somebody, preferably somebody way better than Dr. Phil, but I'm just using his name. Like, I'm going to go and I'm going to get some help. I'm going to figure out what's going on in my mind. I'm going to get some tests done. They could come out and say, yeah, in fact, there is something going on that we can link to the punishment he took on the football field. And and he could say, hey, I went and I got all this stuff done. And I'm able now to control it, or at least I understand what it is and I can live with it, maybe get some meds, although I'm not a big fan of that. But, he can come out and say, hey, this is what I've done. And now he can sing his redemption song, and then that'll bring him another $50 million. If he can figure that part out. I mean, and I look at where he is right now, Antonio Brown, and I look at some of his interviews and stuff like that, and I'm just left scratching my head. And like, this dude has done some crazy shit. But think about it. If somehow he's able to overcome all that, line up a bunch of pros, medical professionals, counselors and whatnot, and they can come in and help him realize what he's doing, first of all, and change what he's doing, secondly, which is more importantly, and do it all under the spotlight, bro, he would come out of this on top for real. Now, yeah, is that a big ask? Oh, yes, huge ask, but he's still a fairly young man. He's got time. He ain't got old like Uncle Saint, right? He ain't got old like the old people. He's got a shot at it. You look at Allen Iverson, everything he went through, and they say, oh, he went broke and lost all his money, but there was money put aside for him. So he was okay. He was able to come back, and there was, another 10 million or whatever it was waiting for him. And you hear anything about Allen Iverson now? I don't. He's just out there doing his thing. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. Brother Pablo was saying that MC Hammer had a mansion in Fremont, California, Hillside. I live in Fremont, but not there in Hillside. Yeah, he had that mansion up on the hill that normally when you buy property, you buy real estate, you can almost never lose. But MC Hammer had a mansion built on top of a hill outside the ghetto or something like that. I remember early on. That was one of the things they talked about with Hammer. And it was just like, yo, he lost money on that. But he was forced to liquidate. If he was able to sit on that for a long enough time, he definitely wouldn't have lost money. Definitely wouldn't have lost money. There's another video out here, man. I wasn't going to show it, but let me see if I can find it now. I think it will be I think it'll be worth watching because it shows a lot of the crazy stuff that he did. It's entitled How AB Went Broke. This thing is 15 minutes long. We're not going to watch all of it. We're going to watch a lot of it. What's good, sis? I see you, Jody. Good to see you, sis. You know what I mean? Up there in the tri-state area, up there where I grew up at, on the other side of the bridge. I see you, girl. So this video talks about a lot of the stuff that he was doing. We're going to watch a little bit of it. Let me pull this up, guys. We'll watch just a little bit of this. I don't want to watch the whole thing, but I will post it to the description below. So if you guys want to go back and watch, you could definitely check it out. And these are the sports guys talking about what's going on. Yeah, let's just watch a little bit of this, guys.
One of the great collapses in the NFL in the last 20 years has been the downfall of one Antonio Brown. Now, I did a balls deep on his career and self-destruction, but this week AB filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, something I honestly have been waiting to see for a long time. Not wishfully, but genuinely. I found myself asking, how the hell does Antonio Brown still have money? Now, he cost himself at minimum $30 million while being actively employed by the NFL, ruined his chance to make more money after his Tampa meltdown, bought and destroyed an AFL franchise, has been through several lawsuits, settled sexual assault allegations, and spent frivolously, buying things nobody needs. Like whatever the hell is on his finger here.
This scary black bar is what you spend on things that no one ever needs.
What is that? Did you say give me something that looks like I stuck my finger up Mr. Freeze's asshole? And now he's broke. Oh, and the jeweler who made him that Mr. Freeze finger asshole thing also suing Antonio Brown. I'm white collar criminal and former financial advisor Brandon Perna, and this is how Antonio Brown lost all of his money. That's good sport.
I mean, just that intro right there is it hits you the nail on the head. Base Oracle in the building. What's good, fam? Dio working overtime. Now Dio's on that summertime schedule, man. Y'all gonna see Uncle Saint hustle. I'm gonna be doing a lot over the summer. It's just every chance I get, I'm gonna be talking about something. I'll probably be back later on this evening because I want to talk about some finance stuff. But yeah, man. Yeah, this Antonio Brown thing is crazy, man. Y'all see that finger thing I'm talking about, the diamond finger sleeve. How much was that? And apparently, the allegedly the jeweler who made it is after $500,000 from Antonio Brown, probably an unpaid, credit. XFO in the building. Was good, fam? Good to see you. Yeah, Mr. Freeze A-hole, bro. That was funny. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Likes are free. Yeah, hit that like button if y'all don't mind. I appreciate you. But we're gonna watch some more of this video because I watched this whole thing, and I mean, the stuff that Antonio Brown was doing, it begs you to wonder why. Like, bro, why are you doing that? Why are you talking that way? Like, what? Why are you making this move? Something isn't right. Something isn't right. And it could be just, hey, man, get a better team around you, or maybe he has a great team and he just doesn't listen. I don't know, but something isn't right.
Please subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I'm
go ahead and
incredibly
subscribe to this
vain,
dude.
and if that number of subs doesn't go up, I feel like I lose self-worth. Also, check out my coffee company, benchwarmerbrew.com, the world's best-selling coffee blend, Fuck the Refs, and we've got tumblers. It's a dark roast. It's delicious.
Yeah, this dude has
and all
almost
proceeds go
500,000
to
subscribers.
Indeed effing the refs.
He almost has 500,000 subscribers, and I mean, he doesn't sound
Antonio
like he cares.
Brown has officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, claiming less than $50,000 in assets while owing nearly $3 million to 8 creditors. By my math, that's not enough to pay those creditors. Now, despite earning over $88 million during his career, his actual take-home pay was significantly reduced by various taxes and fees, leaving him with an estimated $50 million post-retirement in 2021. Thank you for doing that math for me, Tyler Webb. And as a reminder, the number you see on SpotTrack, the contract number for players, that's not the actual number they have in the bank. And since Antonio Brown very abruptly hung up the cleats, his financial situation just kept getting stickier, like a hotel pool where Antonio Brown was the guest. It's also insane to me that he has less than $50,000 in assets. I have more than that in just equity in my home that I bought when I was making less than $3,000 a month 8 years ago.
That part right there, I don't know how true that is. Allegedly, in the state of Florida alone, Antonio Brown has 3 properties. Now, we don't know what the structure is like. We don't know if those properties were bought and then put in some sort of trust. Maybe, like, again, I'm pretty sure he has good people around him. There are people out there doing what they got to do to help this guy. They see what he's doing. They see he's reckless. So, like, okay, let's do this. Let's do that. And even if he only has one property, let's say he only has the one property and well, let's say he has multiple properties in Florida, but one of them could be homesteaded, which means it can't be touched. So even if he lost everything, he will still keep the house. So there's that. It's like, well, why does he have all these properties in Florida and this and that? I'm telling you, he's got people around him. How closely is he listening to these people and taking their advice? I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, allegedly, definitely. Patrick Bay David, the PBD podcast, Valuetainment, they have a shirt that says allegedly. I'm going to have to get that shirt, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I like PBD anyway. I'm gonna have to get that shirt. Brother Pitney, keeper of the wisdom. Brother Pitney in the building, keeper of the knowledge, man. Please like the video. You know what I mean? Like $500,000 on a diamond finger. Yeah, bro. If you sitting on 50 million, maybe you thinking $500,000 ain't that bad. But I think it's more than just that sleeve, that finger sleeve. You saw all the jewelry, the big charms, and the other rings. I think the $500,000 encompasses probably a more than one or two of those pieces. But yeah, definitely a flex. It's a waste of money. Let's continue.
That means AB doesn't own anything. He doesn't own a home or any land, which is fitting because his parody Twitter account, CTESPN, broke the news with the Office clip that he was bankrupt.
Declare bankruptcy!
That clip has been used a lot, and I'm not sure it's ever been used more appropriately. And you can make the argument Michael Scott is actually better with money than Antonio Brown.
All jokes aside, Antonio Brown does own 3 homes in Florida still, but he's likely to lose 2 of those homes by filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And because of homestead exemptions in Florida, he should be able to keep his main residence for now.
Now, besides...
And there you have it. You know what I mean? So there it is. And that's, again, you don't know how he structured his stuff. Antonio Brown comes from the street. He has corporate type people around him, but his mentality is probably still street. So you don't know what properties he has in other people's names, people that love him or whatever that he trusts. You know, you just don't know. Like it's gonna be money squirreled away somewhere. It's very rarely that someone go through $50 million and have absolutely nothing to show for it. I mean, that really does take effort. Can it happen? Sure, it can happen. But you're gonna wind up buying something of value just because you're trying to flex. Even if you go out and just buy yourself, I don't know, $1 million worth of Rolex RM, Patek, and don't bling them out, nothing. Just have the baseline watches, and you just have those and stick them in a safe somewhere. They're gonna add value. That they're gonna gain value as time goes on. But if you can go out and get yourself a Rolex, get yourself a nice Rolex, a presidential or whatever, an Air King or whatever, today it will be worth more than you paid for it this time next year. So it's really hard. Now, of course, you get those watches and then you bling them out. Then they have no value. You just zeroed out all the value. But I'm telling you, this dude's gonna walk away with some bread. He might, when it's all said and done, he might only have $5 million, but I think the dude's gonna walk away with some bread.
Spending the massive quantities of money earned in the NFL on dumb shit that doesn't increase or at the very least hold its value, how does an estimated 50 millionaire lose it all? Well, in disturbing and equally hilarious fashion. In 2018, Brown began to square off in several significant legal battles, starting with his barber for allowing him to get this haircut, a case I actually side with Brown. In April of that year, though, he threw furniture out of his 14th floor apartment.
This is the video of that incident, which shows furniture being thrown from a 14th floor condo in Sunny Isles. The items came crashing down near a swimming pool. Some people scrambled to get out of the way. Property owners are now suing him for damages.
Nearly hitting a 22-month-old toddler, he was subsequently sued and reached a settlement with the child's family in April of 2019. AB was cited as saying to the family, "Why did you leave your toddler where I was going to drop my furniture?"
The good news is, though, Antonio Brown is not allowed to be around children. Certainly not allowed to talk to them in a forum where he is, being pitched as a role model.
When you watch Cheetah play, how does it make you feel? He on the edge of his seat right now. He's excited. He on the edge of his seat. Got emotional right now.
Wait, who fucking approved this? Who the fuck approved this?
Like, how do you feel watching him play?
Additionally, Brown was cited for driving over 100 miles an hour in a suburban Pittsburgh area.
There was the trade me tweet and the Miami apartment thing, and now this. It's just not been a good off-field year for Antonio Brown.
And was found guilty of reckless driving in February of 2019, resulting in yet another fine. The decision that won't haunt Antonio Brown because he's too arrogant to realize how badly he fucked up is his
And what's coming up now is what Brother Pablo was asking about when he went to when he was playing for the Raiders for a hot second. Antonio Brown, bro. I mean, if I don't know, I'm curious as to the timeline reference, that injury, that vicious hit he had in that Cincinnati game, and all this stuff that's been going on ever since. What was Antonio Brown like prior to that game with that big vicious hit that Burfict put on him? And then we see what it was like after. I think all this happened after the hit. I could be wrong. I don't know the timeline, but I'm curious. And that would be something to look at. Hey, man, he was doing somewhat okay, regular NFL-ish dude, until he got his brain bashed in by this brute Burfict in Cincinnati. And then all of a sudden the wheels fell off. If that's the case, you can look at that. And the NFL surely knows that timeline. Guaranteed the NFL knows that timeline. And they're probably sitting back quiet, hoping no one looks at it. And it's like, bro, was that the catalyst? Was that the straw that broke the camel's back, and it's been crazy ever since? I mean, it's crazy, yo. It's crazy. You feel bad, but because when you look at what happened in with the Raiders, we're about to watch this now. The amount of money that was left on the table was staggering. No one's going to do that, especially someone who's in the business. That's his business. You just don't leave that kind of money on the table. So let's check this out.
infamous stint with the Raiders, where he caused so many problems after getting traded to them that they released him before the season even started, voided all of his guarantees on his $50 million contract, costing him a guaranteed $30 million after he forced his way out of Pittsburgh to the Raiders.
He's upset about the helmet issue. We have supported that. We appreciate that. Okay, but at this point, we've pretty much exhausted all avenues of relief.
There's a lot of shouting from Antonio Brown, not as much shouting from Mike Mayock. So more of a one-sided shouting match. Antonio Brown did say, "I'll hit you in the face," and then took the ball, punted it, and said, "Find me for that."
Threatened to hit the general manager in the face and then punted the football away and then said, "Find me for that."
AB played roughly 3 more seasons in total after that, making $11 million, but he could have earned up to 50 if he had just been normal for like a minute. The only reason he made that $11 million is because of Tom Brady. Never forget, Tom Brady was so desperate to win.
Bro, 3-year, $50 million deal, $30 million was guaranteed. All he had to do was just, like you said, act right for a little bit and get to that guaranteed money. That's $30 million he left on the table. He left to get up out of there. And that scene where you got the guy in the suit that's holding a device up to Antonio Brown's bare chest, and you hearing that noise, it sounds like a fart. Well, it is a fart, right? I mean, it's Antonio Brown farting while this dude who was a doctor is trying to do whatever he's trying to do. This is what I'm talking about. And even that wound up in some sort of lawsuit, right? And this is what I'm talking about. His head ain't right. What happened? Like, could there be some sort of medical reason? Is the man injured? Is he suffering from an injury sustained while on the job as a football player? Yeah, that helmet thing was crazy. Why was he so adamant about the helmet? Again, he was coming off of that injury. He got dealt with by Burfict. Maybe someone said this is a magic helmet. You got to keep the magic helmet with you, bro. Give me $50,000. Here's your magic helmet. Maybe it could have been something as simple as that. I got to have my helmet. No, we're going to give you the best helmet the science have created for you because we know you got problems with these hits to the head. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is the obvious stuff that no one is bringing up. Now, is it possible that someone who's never been hit in the head gets $50 million and go through it all in, a matter of, a decade or so or whatever? Yeah, that can happen. Absolutely. But it just so happens that this guy was getting brutalized on the field. And after he had one of the most vicious hits he's ever sustained as a football player his entire life, right? Shit starts going downhill fast. That's all I'm saying. Down to the Tom Brady stuff.
He recruited Antonio Brown twice, once to the Patriots and once to the Buccaneers. Now, around the same time, September of 2019, that officially marked the beginning of Brown's involvement in serious sexual assault allegations. This is the stuff we all kind of forget about when we treat Antonio Brown as the lovable neighborhood dunce. Brittany Taylor, his former trainer, filed a lawsuit alleging multiple sexual assaults, including rape. Brown and his legal team denied the allegations. The Allegheny County District Attorney did not prosecute due to the statute of limitations, but the civil suit continued and was settled in April of 2021. But we're not done there because another woman also accused Brown of sexual misconduct. In a separate case from 2018, a Pittsburgh-based doctor, Victor Prisk, sued Brown for farting in his face and $11,500 in unpaid fees. They're calling it the most expensive fart in human history. Brown's legal troubles just kept going on in January of
Did y'all see that thing with the fart? Did y'all see that thing with the fart? He got sued for farting in someone's face. Base, Oracle, man, what the hell is going on? Sounds like Base is brushing his teeth.
You hear me all right?
What's up, man? I can hear you now. What the hell is going on? He got sued by a doctor for having. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you. I can hear you, Base. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I didn't know about getting sued for farting in somebody's face. That was brand new to me. Did you know about that?
I have never heard of that. Period.
Well,
that
Antonio
was a
Brown.
suable offense.
I mean, apparently it was. I mean, you can sue anybody for anything, right? That one made it to a judge. I would not want to be sitting in front of that judge like, well, y'all suing for what? He farted in your face.
Maybe he got pink eye. He got like pink eye scars.
Maybe. I guess some fecal matter managed to get through the shorts and into your eye, I guess. Bro, what do you think?
I wanted to hit on one thing you mentioned in particular. I mean, actually quite a few, but the one was about head injuries, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of, I've never played football, or at least not like, in school or anything, just for fun. But I did box for quite a bit. I've been punched in the face quite a few times, did get a concussion, at least one that I know of. And I guess what I'm saying is I never went off and, blew $50 million in the wind because of it, or, farted in people's face, whatever bullshit he's on. And my point is, he very well may have an injury. I mean, that is possible. I mean, maybe even likely. But how much cope is there in the sports world in terms of no accountability or lack of, right? A lot of them are doing the same shit. Like, this story has been told over and over with different sports people, or even outside of that.
Yeah.
A lot of rich people, right?
Yeah. You're right, bro. I would say this. My thing is, you have to acknowledge the fact that, because I remember that hit in that game. It was brutal, bro. Like, I understand you've got concussed, like, you've been fighting, but imagine if you got hit by, Tyson in his prime, right? Wouldn't that be, I would think that would be a little more severe, a little higher severity on the, the brain injury. But to your point, I was a paratrooper. I can't tell you how many times I bounced my head off the DZ and just been, off on the mission, halfway there, halfway not there. I said at the top of this show, I know guys, they have hit their heads real hard on the drop zone, and we'll go off and do a mission, and the dudes never remembered us doing the mission. And they were there the whole time. They just don't even remember. Like, you don't remember that? Like, no, I remember exiting the airplane, and then next thing I know, I'm here in the chow hall with y'all. Like, bro, we did 3 days worth of shit. You don't remember any of that? Like, no.
Right. Yeah.
So
well,
I'm not
just saying
oh, go
that
ahead.
excuse wouldn't have, worked for us, really. And I'm not saying it's just an excuse, for him, or maybe that he's pursuing, like, oh, I'm injured, I didn't know what I was doing, or the NFL, like, we need thicker helmets, maybe, but it's no, accountability in a sense of, like, blaming it on injury. And I just don't buy it in totality. There's too many other people doing this in that world, whether it's celebrities, other sports players, doing the same type of shit that I've seen, at least, that you were putting on, like, in this video, because I don't know him otherwise.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, there's just stuff, a lot of stuff I didn't even know about. But my point is, if in fact that injury has something to do with him having, some sort of injury, then the NFL, I would say that the NFL or whoever the employer is, would at a minimum have to say, well, look, we're going to get you this counseling because you might have these effects or side effects down the road. And then they at least do that. And then if the person's like, well, I don't want no damn counseling, fine. Now you can't say that it was on us. I'm like, look, man, we know you hit your head hard, but because even for us, even for vets, I can go to the VA and I can say, hey, man, I get these headaches or I have these funny thoughts. And they're going to go through my file. I'm like, oh, this guy was a paratrooper. Oh, this guy was actually on jump status. Okay. We're going to get him some help. Now, if I go out there and do any of the stuff that this Antonio Brown allegedly did, that's not going to help me in court, right? Throwing furniture out of your condo onto the pool deck.
Right.
Go to jail for that. I didn't know about that. You're supposed to go to jail for that, bro. That's attempted murder.
Jeez. Yeah. Again, it's not shocking. It seems like every other day, some sports, whoever coming out on some, similar type stuff. He's no anomaly. This is one of the reasons I really don't give a shit about pro sports, like, whatsoever.
Yeah, I like watching football. I ain't gonna lie, but
No, I get it. I mean, look, I understand the game. It can be cool to watch, but I guess what I'm getting at is the leadership outside of the field or the court or whatever a lot of times seems very bad. Not good example setting.
yeah, I definitely don't look to any athlete as an example. I mean, it's hard. Like we talk about this all the time. I rarely look towards any other humans or, you know, other men and women as examples. There are some out there, but I mean, they're few and far between, I would argue. And, you know, a lot of people is like, yeah, Michael Jordan is a great example. No, he's not. I mean, if you want to play basketball and you want to be the best, Kobe Bryant's a great example. He's a great example if you want to be zoned in and you want to train hard for whatever it is you're doing. But Kobe did some bad things too. So it's and like these football players, they're young kids, man. They come out of college, they're in their 20s, right? And they walk into millions of dollars, and people think that somehow that's not going to go off the rails, bro. Come on now. I've been in, like I said, I've been in gentlemen's clubs and all these other stuff, watching these dudes throw 10, 20, 50 million, $50,000, not million. I've seen you know, like people like Drake are going to a nightclub and they'll throw $50,000 like it ain't nothing. That's a horrible example to be shown, because these young guys are like, yeah, I can't wait to do that. I'm like, bro, how about you get the 50 grand and buy a house with it? Why you want to just throw it?
Yeah. Well, I think the reason why varies, but most of the time it probably overlaps with the idea that they're going to find happiness at the end of whatever that high is. You know, the high of being at the club or the new Lambo, whatever it is. And I think they find that that is not the case.
Yeah, I'm here to tell you guys, if you go out somewhere and you want to throw, you know, thousands of dollars at a stripper, I ain't mad at the stripper, she's getting her money. But all you're gonna do is when you get home the next day, you wake up and you sober up, you're like, damn it, I wasted $1,000. That's all that's gonna happen. And no one's gonna say, you know, you've been nominated for you know, trick of the year at the Boom Boom Room. They're gonna put your jersey up in the rafters. That's not gonna happen, bro. They just gonna keep taking your money. So bad example. Don't do it. You want to be a little more savvy with it. Now I get it. You're young. You want to have some fun. Sometimes you want to go out there and you want to clown. I get that. You go out with your close friends, your family. You know, you're gonna go have a great meal and go out to the nightclub or lounge and maybe rent a boat and go out and do that. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can't do it every day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You just can't do it every day.
People get used to everything, whether it's bad things, you know, rough life type of deal, or, you know, all these superficials that so many look up to and aspire to. Oh, if I only could get this, you know, vacation home or whatever it is, right? To live like the celebrities seem to live. And I think that's where a lot of people put the idea of, you know, this is going to be the thing that actually makes me happy. And they find that they just are perpetually chasing an emotion that's fleeting. And even if they do get these things, it ends up leveling out, right? There's nobody really that gets a new Lambo and a year later they're still excited. It turns into my car.
Yeah. You don't watch it as much. You don't really care about it as much. And then you get a Ferrari. Now you don't even drive it. Right. So it's like the Lambo was just sitting over there. No, you're right. And the point of this, right? This conversation, this video, I'm not trying to, you know, excuse away Antonio Brown's bad behavior and his mismanagement of funds. I'm not trying to do that. But I did want to point out that maybe, just maybe, that severe injury to his head had something to do with this. And then it gets into the, you know, and it gets into the business, because the NFL, remember, the NFL denied it forever. They still don't want to deal with it. Now you get into accountability. This multi-billion-dollar entity in the NFL, they don't want to take care of the guys that they made the $1 billion off of. And it wouldn't cost a lot of money to get the help. That's the point I'm trying to make. But,
well,
you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know all the logistics, but this doesn't sound crazy that they're, for instance, getting access to some of the best healthcare potentially in the country, and certainly the means to do so with 50 mil, even if they weren't handed some, you know. But look, they're getting, I would think, MRIs, all sorts of things that happen throughout the year or training. I mean, again, I don't know specifically, but does that not sound right?
Yes. And a lot of that is due to the NFL Players Association, those guys fighting the NFL to get that. That wasn't the case before. Remember that there was a time when the NFL hid that information. They would have all that information, the MRIs and all that, and they hid it. They wouldn't release it, not even to the players. And then you had players doing stuff to people, doing stuff to themselves and all that. And they were able to, it was a pretty big win. And I'm like you, I don't know all the details, but it was a pretty big win for the guys in the NFL. I know some guys who benefited from it. There was money paid out. And to your point, now they have access to medical care. So they do. So you know what? That might answer my own question, because Antonio Brown probably has access to top tier medical care if he were to go seek it through the NFL, but it doesn't sound like that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I would think so. Could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Yeah, but and at the end of the day, it just when you see something like this, it's like, bro, I mean, would someone be right in saying that the guy's just eccentric, or would you say the guy's just dumb? Like, what would you say, just on the little bit that you know?
Well, I mean, the truth of what I'd say, like getting to the core, is he's somebody that is kind of desperately looking for love in the wrong places, right? Wants others to like him, wants to somehow buy it, you know, whether it's through proving to himself type of deal. I mean, look, some of this, what was that finger, Mr. Ice butthole pucker ring, whatever the fuck that was. You know, like Will Smith said, I mean, you know, I know who he is now, but people buy things to impress the people that don't like them, or they don't like whatever it is, but there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, you're buying things that are going to attract the type of people that you want, i.e. Michael Jackson had an amusement park at his house. Well, what is he looking to attract? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
And like you know, like XFL said here, he was like XF. Man, I always be messing up your acronym, man. XFO, my bad, bro. Like he said, it was like, oh, it's a flex. Who is it? I mean, some girl's gonna look at that and it's like, well, that's just a whole bunch of diamonds. And okay, it's a flex. So, like, to your point, that's what you after. You after, I want to get one of these girls. And you know, all the troubles he's had with the trainers and massage therapists and all that. Yeah, but here's the thing, he got away with all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
Cost him some money, but didn't have to do any time. You're throwing TVs and whatnot, furniture out of your condo down on people below you, and they didn't come arrest you. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Let me do it.
It's a privilege of sorts, right? Whether it's in terms of his money or his status or a combination thereof, right? But it's a privilege that most people in America would not have gotten. It doesn't seem like, even with what's going on in the U.S.
That's a fact.
Like in terms of lack of accountability, I mean, like, you know, in New York, the no bail, the bail reform, you know what I mean?
Right there. Yeah. Which, like, yeah. Like, we want to do away with the ability to use bail. I get what they're trying to do, but I think they're going about it wrong. You know, there's some people you do want to sit down, but then bail doesn't affect rich folks, man. You got rich folks, man, they're bailed out before the police can fill the paperwork out.
Right. And I didn't mean that in terms of the specificity of the bill itself. I just mean the overarching, it's kind of turning into the Wild West. A lot of, I mean, it's another conversation. Well, I mean, similar though, like in terms of a lot of people are not facing the accountability, and I'm not looking at it as a race, gender, or anything else. And I do realize there's variables in the elements societally, but nonetheless, there is an overarching people not really being held accountable, like, you know, even just 10, 20 years ago in terms of crime, stuff like that. A lot of people just getting off, right? The system overly saturated. I think COVID played a huge part in that.
Yeah.
Or at least, and not to say this is all COVID's doing. I just think that was kind of the excuse that was used to kind of push some of this through, right? Turning into, I mean, Wild West is the best way I would put it.
It is, like, it's worse in some places than others. You look at what's going on in California.
Right.
You know, not as bad out here in Florida, but, you know, you look at what's going on in New York, not as bad as in, you know, let's say, you know, Indy, but, you know, it's like not as bad in Indianapolis as in New York, but it's bad all the way around. I think you're right. Brother Pitney Jules, he has a good point there, talking about the fleeting of all this happiness that you think money can buy. He like relationships are the ultimate source of happiness for most societal well-adjusted people. And he's right. I mean, that's you look at Jennifer Lopez. Oh, I got Ben Affleck and everything's gonna be all good. And it looks like that didn't work. Right.
Yeah.
It's because, you can't run from who you are. At the end of the day, like you can't run from who you are. I was talking to Glenn last night. We were talking about the whole divorce thing and all this, and he kept saying, well, it's more of it's about the heart. It's like this emotional stuff about divorce, and it's about the heart and all this. And I'm like, nah, bro, I don't agree with that at all, man. Like the law doesn't care about how you feel or if your heart is broken. Like it has nothing to do with the heart. When the other person just knows that they can get money, they're gonna get it. It just, you take away the incentive, bro. It has nothing to do with the heart.
Yeah. And this is why, I mean, I think a lot of argument that comes, well, from some people, I'll just put it like that, is, well, look at what women can get away with. That's usually what comes out. Look, they're incentivized. And I totally agree. There is an incentivization to break down the family structure in many ways, including divorce court and such. However, it is still on men to know that and operate as such, to take that into strong consideration within the people that you bring into your life, how quickly you bring them in, to what degree you bring them in. But this truth, this knowledge should be you should know it and operate as such. If you know it and operate as if that's not the case, and you want to say, oh, well, this woman's different, Miranda, that type of mentality, you're going to end up with the same results. And then you're going to be angry at women and say, oh, I can't believe that she did that. Well, you knew the risk, or at least you should know the risk. You need to figure it the fuck out and not make the same mistakes next time, if there is a next time. Because if you don't learn the lesson and you just want to be perpetually mad at women, because kind of like children, they're going to, take you give them an inch, they take a mile type of thing. I'm just saying generally. So you should know that when going into relationships, and that should be more reason to use better discretion, be more patient, and not, let the wool get pulled over your eyes for some pussy. Oh, I got laid. Yeah, great. Then what?
That's how the game works, bro. I mean, you can't be a guy who joins the United States Army and just gets shocked because you're getting shot at. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we're getting shot at. Like, bro, that's what you're in the Army, man. Look at your shirt. It says us Army on it, bro. Sometimes we get shot at it, homie. It's like a guy like, oh, I want to be a paratrooper, but I didn't think I'll get my leg broken. Man, we're jumping out of airplanes, man. What do you mean you didn't think you was gonna get your leg broken? This sort of thing or I'm a mortarman. I'm handling explosives and shoving them down a tube and watching them go boom out the other end. I didn't think that it could be a double feed and something bad could happen. What? You didn't think that?
Yeah.
Why not? Right? I like to, as your example, I like to use it. I'm like, yeah, that's not a shocking thing. It happens.
Right. Well, there was this saying, I mean, this applies to a lot of things, but when I was in the infantry, we'd run into a lot of non-infantry, and that comm, whatever it was. And we'd constantly hear from other dudes like, oh, I was going to be in the infantry, but, oh, I was going to, everyone wants to be in the infantry, but nobody wants to be in the infantry. We didn't want to be in the infantry once we were in the infantry. Yet there's other people like, oh yeah, I was going to do it. Shut the fuck up. If you were going to do it, you would have done it. But the idea is you don't actually want what comes with it. You just want the cake, right? You want the cake and to have it too. You want to be able to say, oh, I'm a Green Beret, I'm a Navy SEAL, but you don't want to do what comes with it. Or if it's a relationship, right? You want a girlfriend or a wife or whatever, but you don't want to have to deal with what the truth is, that this is going to be, tough in 2024, given how in some ways, without getting deep into it, some ways that it would be good for you to move, to protect yourself, to, try to avoid these traps that are set out. It's not going to be easy.
You're right about that. And that's so funny. Like, yeah, I wanted to be infantry. I wanted to be a paratrooper. People say that to me all the time. I wanted to be the paratrooper. And why you go to airborne school? Why do you go? I mean, it's not that.
I didn't want to do it that bad.
Right. Like, bro, you joined the same army I joined. I would have gone to war. Well, why didn't you enlist? Yeah, I mean, it was all you had to do was sign up, man. The Marine Corps is always looking for a few good men. The Army is looking for just anybody they can get. So why didn't you enlist? Oh well, you didn't want to go to
It
war.
was
That's
my
why.
recruiter. It was my girlfriend. It was my right. That's when the excuses start coming out.
It was my priest. I had a splinter. It's like, all right, you know what I mean? Brother Penny continued. He's like, not always romantic relationships. Solid friendships with a handful of people is plenty to keep your spirits high. Even professional relationships with coworkers go a long way in keeping you happy. That's a fact, bro. I like that, man. You shout out to you for that. That is a fact. Templar's in the building. What's good, Templar? That was your horn blast as well. Good to see you, bro. Thanks for stopping by.
2 for
you know
1.
What I mean? Yeah, 2 for 1, man. Sometimes, you know what? Let me give him his own. I ain't gonna sit here and get you. There you go. 100% yours. Base called me out real quick. So there you go, Templar. My bad. My bad. I'm over here being stingy with the sound effects. I don't want to do that. So yeah, bottom line for you, Based, is that it's like the hell with these dudes. Like, I can't feel sorry for you. You were successful, you made all this money, you lost the money, whatever. That's on you. Deal with it. Is that where you're coming from?
Well, it's not just like fuck you type of energy that I'm saying. I'm just saying the accountability of, look, I mean, if I was talking to this dude, right, Antonio Brown, it's like, look, you earned your way here from what I can see. You worked very hard. You also got paid incredibly well to the extent that most people could only and would only dream of, right? Would want to emulate you, or so they think. And through the decisions that you made and continue to make, it seems to me you're digging a big fucking hole. And I know you'd like to blame all these other circumstantials. Oh, I hurt my head, and this person, that person, the NFL, whatever. Someday at 35 years old, someday you will need to actually grow up, and you can choose to do so, or life will teach you. And it sounds like life is teaching him a little bit, right? In terms of
yeah. So, I just thought that was hilarious, man. Not hilarious. I thought it was sad. It's funny and sad. This poor doctor is there doing whatever he's been hired to do, and here's this guy standing there farting, just farting. You know what I mean? And it's like, what the hell? And to me, it's like, there's something wrong with you, man. Why are you farting on this dude? This dude ain't do nothing to you. You mad at the NFL or whoever made you take this test, so you're gonna fart and make it uncomfortable for the guy who's administering it? Oh,
well, maybe he was recording it, right? He thought he was gonna put it out on TikTok, get 1 billion views. Antonio farts, pink eye particles in, prostate examiner's face. I don't know.
Bro,
I don't
something
know.
was going on there, man. That's some, and then, I mean, this is a lot of stuff that this guy's done. But at the end of the day, when this is all said and done, and it's all over, he's still going to be a millionaire. And I believe that the guy can turn it around. Right? He's in his 30s. I think give him 10 years, he turns it around. And that's a redemption story. He sings this redemption song to the tune of 20 or 30 million dollars. Gets a movie deal or gets whatever. These sort of things, it's like, I don't see it ending tragically. Although it could, I just don't see it ending tragically for this guy.
Yeah, but even when you say just now, like, he could get a movie deal, make 20, 30 mil. Look, he's gotten a very big payday, and supply and demand, free market, all that stuff, but he's certainly not entitled to be a millionaire from here on out. And I think the bigger good that would happen, regardless of if he ends up being a millionaire again or not, would be for him to figure the fuck out that it wasn't money that was the big problem in his life, or lack thereof, in the beginning. Because look what happened when he got it. It just maximized, or in a bad way, who he was, right? He's a kid, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Seems like he's being very childish. So whether or not he's a millionaire or billionaire or poor on the street, I think the more important lessons will determine his happiness.
I think this dude will find God. I think a lot of dudes in this man's situation will wind up finding some religion, maybe God, maybe Allah, or whatever. It could be some other religion, and mellow out, find a good woman, start having babies. I would not be surprised if that happened 10 years down the road.
Well, I would, but I hope it does happen. But I would be surprised in terms of most people are not on the happy kind of path that you're describing. it seemed to me most people are fucked at this point. So if he happens to be the one of the few of society, forget about sports players or millionaires, but just in society that figures things out and finds love or God or however you want to put that, then great. But I don't think that the odds are on his side. Just looking, I mean, look at the US. Things are not in good shape societally.
You got a point there. And I'm not saying that, guys, because I'm a Bible thumper. I am not. I'm just simply making an observation. There are a lot of guys that I've seen out there who came from nothing. Like allegedly this dude was homeless prior to going, as a kid or whatever, before getting into college. They were saying, I don't know how true that is, but allegedly he was homeless, gets into college, whatever, gets into the NFL, does everything he does. A lot of time these dudes will get back to their roots. It'll be someone from their past that they really love and admire. And somehow they wound up on that religious tip. I've just seen it so many times. They wound up on that religious tip. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happened with this dude, nor would I be surprised if we wake up one day and the guy is selling meat door to door. I wouldn't be surprised at that either. You know what I mean? Or worse. I hope not. I haven't heard anything about substance abuse or anything like that. So, hopefully that never becomes a thing with him. But, we'll see. I mean, goddamn, I would love somebody to give me $50 million. And, you ever see that movie, Brewster's Millions with Richard Pryor, bro? You ever heard of that movie?
Nah, I know Richard Pryor, but I don't think I saw that one.
Richard Pryor did a
70s
movie.
or-
80s. I
80s,
think he did this movie in the 80s called Brewster's Millions. You should check it out. I'm waiting for Hollywood to remake it. If I were in Hollywood right now, I even pitched this to some of my cool kid friends. I'm like, this was maybe 10 years ago. I'm like, you should redo Brewster's Millions and call it Brewster's Billions. The premise of the movie is this billionaire goes up to this guy, Brewster or whatever, Richard Pryor, and gives him an ungodly amount of money, something like $100 million or something like that, right? And he has to spend all of that money and have nothing to show for it in a specified amount of time, like a month or something like that. You know what I mean? And if he does, then he gets $1 billion or something. That's like the premise is if you spend all this money in this time and I have nothing to show for it, then you get your real inheritance, which is this. Pretty good movie, bro. Pretty good movie. I'm shocked that Hollywood hasn't, tried to remake that and gender swap and make people gay. He put a chick in it and make her gay. But it's still like this. The premise itself was a pretty good premise. Templar is saying, pretty sure being in the military, you better get used to each other's farts. Hilarious. But a lot of truth in that, bro. A lot of truth in that.
No, that's truth. I remember one deployment right on a ship, and you're separated from the people next to you by like holes in the metal, like metal walls with holes in them. I don't know how to describe it. But anyways, the one night or morning, who the fuck knows what time it was, I let out like a bad one. Like it was just, I don't know, it must have been like that ship food and protein, and you know how it goes. And it was just like one that was so bad, I knew. I just knew it was gonna be bad. And literally the dudes on the other side, like everyone in the area was just disgusted. They were like, what the fuck? But the dude on the other side, I didn't even know who he was. He was probably recon or scout sniper, like they were in our bay. But anyways, he was just like mad. He was like, raging on the other side. He's like, who the fuck did that?
Reaching for his gas mask, like this is bullshit.
No, really, just like actually pissed. And I was just like laughing in my right. Like, oh, man. Don't let him know it's me.
Yeah, don't laugh at the sniper, bro. Don't laugh at the sniper. Oh, bro, yeah, I got stories too, man. I got we did a mission. We had one of our summer missions, man. We were up in northern Michigan somewhere, working this little bitty tower, and it's just a 2-man tower. We're up there, and one of my dudes, the guy in charge, actually I don't know what he ate the night before, but man, it kept coming out. And we're in this tower, and bro, I almost threw up. It was so bad. Like, man, you got to open the door, bro. Open the door. I'm gonna throw up all over all this equipment, man. They had to open the door. I'm like sticking my head out the door, trying to breathe. Pilots are calling, and I can't even answer the pilots. It was terrible. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with you? Shout out to Oaks if you out there, man. That he went off to be a smoke jumper. We was like, when we were getting out, like, what are you gonna do when you get out? Like, man, I think I'm gonna be a smoke jumper. I'm like, I would stay in the Army. Like, smoke jumper. I don't know about that, bro, but that's what he was talking about doing.
You know, I was gonna say too, those MREs, like on some of the ops, I don't know about you, but my platoon company, whatever, would get like in Bridgeport, I think it was like 12 or 15-year-old MREs, right? Because it would be marked on the box,
Yeah.
what date they were packaged, what year. And yeah, you know, you have that for a few days, you know, that snack bread and the bullshit cheese whiz and all this crap, and it'll fuck you up. I mean,
It'll gum you up, bro. I mean, that's that delayed delayed destruction, bro. Like,
you
it'll
like
gum you up.
pooping, you like pooping putty and shit. It's
Yeah,
weird.
man. Oh man, yeah. Let's not talk about this anymore. But bringing back some bad memories, bro. Butthole just on fire. You definitely gonna need something to cool it. That's when you need that diamond cool ice finger thingy.
Oh yeah.
Somebody plug him up, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I was watching this. I'm like, everyone's talking about Antonio Brown. Like, you know what? Let me just jump on and do something real quick. Definitely, I'm gonna come back later on this evening. I saw something that Peter Schiff was talking about, like what's going on with the American economy, and I kind of agree with a lot that he's saying. I'm thinking I'm gonna pull that up tonight.
Okay, cool.
Either that, or I might talk about some red pill shit, like some dating hardcore. I haven't talked about any dating shit in a while, so I'm gonna do one or the other tonight, man. What you got going on?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna, I got some things to do in real life, and then probably be hopping on some panels, some shows, got some things happening backstage, and a little bit of prep going on for some things.
Yeah, man. It doesn't seem like that dude really wants. I was just listening. You saw where I was last night. And I ain't gonna lie, I like that guy. That guy's, older dude. It was a good conversation. That's someone I look forward to talking some politics with him. One of the very few Trumpers that could actually answer my question. I always give a qualifying question to any Trumper who wants to talk politics. Simple. Tell me 3 things that Donald Trump or his administration did wrong. And he gave me 3. He probably could have gave me 10. He had more. Like, he was ready to go into it, like this. And I'm like, okay, we could talk about politics and Trump or whatever you want to talk about anytime, brother, because that's the guy who's a thinker, and he's not, I'm just team Trump and blah, blah, blah. So I was impressed with that dude. But before I jumped on, I was just listening. They had the Andrew guy on. He was actually on that stream.
Yeah,
and they were talking about it. And it's like, yeah, that's a lot of him and Han right there. Like, you're right. He doesn't want to do it. He does not want to do it.
He does not want to debate me.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it. And why not? At this point, why not?
I'll tell you why. No, let me tell you why. He has nothing to gain from it. That's the truth. And he could only lose, right? Imagine being in his position, this huge ego pedestal, all his little fanboys sucking him off. And meanwhile, I come and pop him off. What could that possibly do good for him?
Yeah. Like, if he destroys you, he was supposed to. And he would absolutely have to destroy you. He can't leave any room for error. Like, it was absolutely 100%, Bates got his ass handed to him. Anything less than that is a loss. If you guys were to do it and someone will walk away with like, nah, Bates has a point. If anyone said that, then it's a loss for the Andrew guy. So you're right. He has nothing to gain. And, I guess too bad he was tipsy or whatever. And because he agreed to it. So, because now, like, well, you got to do it because you said you would, and it's, well, I don't want to, I was like, all right, well.
He was drinking, right, for the family, man, drinking at 4 a.m. and talking with, so-calledly, according to him, retards. That was me. So why you up being drunk at 4 a.m. talking to retards if family is what matters?
Yeah, and the conversation is going to come up at some point when I'm over there talking with old boy. What is it? Motorsport 1, MR? I forget.
Grid 1.
Grid 1.
Or Unreasonable Man is the channel.
I subscribe to his channel. I'm checking out his stuff, man.
We got a video, him and I, back maybe 2-3 months ago when I first started, and each of us have a video up where we dual streamed it. So he came over to mine, and we had a good talk. I think I don't exactly recall the conversation, but after that, Daddy Andrew wasn't too happy with my pushback upon his grifting and lying at times, because he is very good at what he does. He has a ton of points that I totally agree with. But nonetheless, I'm going to call out the truth. And
he did bring that point up though. He said that specifically. Like, well, the guy says he agrees with like 90% of what I say. So why does he want to push back on this, or why does he want to do this or whatever? And that's what these people don't realize. Simply because, like Myron and Fresh and Fit, your favorite people in the whole wide world, right?
Favorite.
Simply, your damn favorite. Simply because I rock with those guys does not mean that they could do no wrong. It does not mean that I'm gonna back them no matter what they do or say. No,
Right.
no. I agree with a lot of shit y'all say, bro. But this shit right here, that's wrong.
Right.
And that's where people got it twisted, man. And I think that Andrew guy realizes that, and that's what makes you so dangerous.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'll check you out later if you're up on, and maybe we'll see each other on some other panel or something.
Yes, sir. You gonna you firing up your platform tonight? You doing you?
No, I'm not planning on it. I'll probably wait till tomorrow. But,
All right. Well, I'll definitely jump on your shit tomorrow, and you'll send me tonight, bro. If you don't catch me over here, you'll catch me on somebody else's platform. I'm gonna be doing the same thing you're doing.
cool, man. All right, be good. And chat, I didn't see any of your comments, but you be good too. Later.
They just called you an asshole. It's all good.
Yeah, all right, proper. Very good.
All right, brother. Peace. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's my guy, Base Oracle, man. Don DeMarco, the Base Oracle, for coming over here, man. Spending some time with us. We're gonna wrap this up. I didn't plan on going this long. I really was just gonna do like an hour, but I'm glad it went a little bit longer, man. Base got me thinking in ways that I wasn't thinking, right? And it was good to be able to clarify that. Like, I'm not trying to excuse Antonio Brown's behavior, but I definitely want to point out that that man made his money by putting his body through a lot of pain and a lot of injury. And, some of those injuries might have something to do with what's going on. Like, it is what it is. So yeah. So just food for thought, guys. We'll kind of loosely keep an eye on what's going on with Antonio Brown. Kind of, I'm not going to be really on top of this one, but I'll keep my eye on it just to see how this particular bankruptcy plays out. But in the end, bro, he's still going to be a millionaire, in my opinion. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he found religion, found a good woman, and started making babies 10 years from now. It is what it is, brother Templar. He fucked off for a quick handshake. Hey, bro, y'all crazy. You know what I mean? He's solid so far. This is all about base. Everyone has needs, Templar. Yeah, y'all tripping. Y'all wilding. And some have needs every 5 minutes. Y'all wilding. I'm so glad y'all were here. Such a Jody, brother Templar, brother Pablo. Dr. B was in the building. I'm glad y'all were here. It's always a pleasure. XFO, it was good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. I'm so glad you came through. It is what it is. We're going to continue to have these conversations. I'm definitely going to be back later tonight. We're either going to talk about finance or we're going to be talking about some red pill dating stuff. I really want to talk about finance, but it might be one or the other, but I'm definitely going to be back. It's going to be later. It's the summer schedule, guys. I don't know when I'm going to be on. All I know is I'm going to be on a lot. So appreciate y'all. For real, brother Templar, peace to you as well. Peace to everyone here this afternoon on this particular stream. And I'll see y'all later on tonight. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. Y'all know what time it is. It's outro time. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty. Darn, that's the end.